Welcome back to the Atheopagan Society's YouTube channel. I'm Yucca, and we are coming up on another full moon. So we're going to be talking about ritual. So when we talk about religion, paganism, it's not just something that we believe. It's not just cosmology about how do we think the universe works, how do we understand, what do we think. It's also about what do we do, right? Not just here, but what are we actually doing and what are the experiences that we're having? So, ritual is really about creating or crafting experiences. I took a couple notes here. Let me take a look at these. And so, the first thing I wanted to talk about was an example that I thought everybody could probably relate to. So bear with me. This is going to actually have to do with ritual here. So I want you to think about when it's time for you to go to sleep. So you might be tired, you might be absolutely exhausted, but just closing your eyes where you are, putting your head down, closing your eyes, and saying, "Okay, body, go to sleep." Does that actually work? No, not really, right? Unless you are one of those really, really rare people who can just go to sleep wherever. I've never met any of you. If you exist, let me know. But what do most people have to do to be able to go to sleep? Even if you're super, super exhausted? Well, everybody's a little bit different, but here are some guesses that I have. Here's some of the things that I do, and that is pretty common. We have a specific place that we go to sleep every time, right? We have our bed. And if you live with somebody else, you probably even have your side of the bed and where particularly you put your head, what pillow you use. You probably have some other things that you do around that. Most folks will brush their teeth before going to bed, right? Maybe switch out of the day's clothing into whatever it is that you sleep in, if you sleep in anything. You probably turn the lights down. You probably have a whole set of things that you do to signal to yourself, okay, I can let go now. I can relax. Now I can go to sleep. And then the sleep works, right? So even when we try to just tell ourselves something on a mental level, on this sort of intellectual talky part, we can't always communicate to ourselves what we are trying to without some other types of tools. And in ritual, we're trying to access those tools to be able to speak to that deeper part of ourselves, right? So just like we would do with, okay, it's time to go to sleep, we can create rituals or experiences. That would be an experience of the experience of tired, right? The experience of letting go. We can create other types of experiences. And these might be, this is where I need the notes for it. I wrote down a whole bunch of different ideas of things that we might do ritual for, different types of experiments we might have. So healing or self-care, any sort of transformational experiences, rites of passage, problem solving experiences, protection or preparation in any sort of way, connection, celebration. So with the seasons or the time of the year, things like that, formation of community, all kinds of different experiences that we could intentionally craft. And that's what we're trying to do with ritual. So when we do a ritual, we're choosing what is this experience that I am trying to create. And then we have a whole set of tools that we can use to do that. Now, there's different levels of formality of rituals. There might be the ritual that you have in the morning of just, looking out the window and greeting the day. Just, good morning, day. Good morning. Here I am, another day. Wonderful, right? But you also might have more formal rituals that have more of a setup. And kind of like we were talking about with the sleep, there might be things that signal you to, okay, I'm switching into this now. So maybe you're doing a healing ritual or something that's meant to be very transformational. You might want to set up a ritual space. And lots of people use the form of casting a circle, right? There's all kinds of different forms that you can use, but that's a really common one. So I'm going to start by creating this sacred space, or this space that is intentional for me to help me slip into that mindset. So I'm going to use um, a particular location every time, or do a particular action. Going back to the getting ready for bed, okay, well, we have a location that we go for sleep, right? So we go to our bed or wherever it is that you sleep. There's also symbols that we might have. The symbol of putting on your pajamas, whatever it is that you wear. You've got your big fuzzy socks or slippers or whatever it is that you do. Those are symbols. There might be words that you use. If you live with other folks, you might tell them a particular good night. A few months back, I shared with you what my family does with our kind of good night affirmation, closing of the night gratitude ritual, those sorts of things. So, with a more formal ritual, again, casting a circle is very common, but a general form, again, there are so many different forms that you could use, but a general form that often gets used is going to be, okay, let's create the space. This could be solitary, this could be in a group. Let's open the space. That's what the ritual, the circle would be, right? And then let's prepare within that. For some people, that might be invoking certain qualities or ideas, honoring particular things, maybe honoring the land where you are, or ancestors, ideas like that, and then really getting into the meat of it, right? And that's where we start to work with the stronger symbols and whatever the ritual is. It could be dance, it could be song, it could be drinking something. And there's so many different things that we can do with ritual, but the main idea is, how do we communicate to ourselves on a level beyond just the thinky self, on a level that we experience? How do we craft this experience for ourselves? And then often there's the closing and moving back out of the ritual. And for people who are using a circle, right, that's opening up the circle. But there's so many different things that you could do as well. So I think that that's what we've got for this. I really invite you all to try purposefully crafting ritual if that's something that you haven't done before. If it is something that you do a lot and there's any tips that you'd like to share with us, please let us know. And as always, we really appreciate you being here with us. It really helps out when you like and subscribe and comment and all of that good stuff. It does help us reach a larger audience. So thank you so much, everybody. And if you get a chance, check out that full moon.